Daniel Cross wasn't always a good cop. He became one. The transformation started in January 2022, exactly 23 days after Emily Carter's missing person report went cold. Daniel had watched the investigation from the periphery, a civilian then, working security at a strip mall, nursing applications to police academies that kept rejecting him. He'd watched detectives canvass the neighborhood where her car was found abandoned. Watched them interview her roommate, her professors, her mother who flew in from Ohio with photographs and desperate hope. He watched them find nothing. No body. No witnesses. No surveillance footage from that particular stretch of industrial road where the streetlights had been out for maintenance. Just a young woman who vanished on a December night, leaving behind a recovered vehicle, a semester of college unfinished, and a case file that would gather dust. The guilt should have destroyed him. Instead, it forged him. Daniel threw himself into the academy with monastic devotion. He was up at 0500 for extra PT. He memorized every statute, every procedure, every protocol. While other recruits complained about the body cam policies and the paperwork, Daniel embraced them. Documentation is protection, he told himself. If everything is recorded, everything is accounted for. If everything is accounted for, the past stays buried. He graduated top of his class. 3 years later, Officer Daniel Cross has a spotless record. 42 commendations. 0 complaints. His arrest reports are immaculate, every Miranda warning delivered perfectly, every use of force justified and documented. His fellow officers joke that he loves his body cam more than his girlfriend. They don't know he doesn't have a girlfriend. Doesn't have time for complications or questions or anyone who might look too closely at the man behind the badge. His locker at the precinct is a shrine to achievement, certificates of excellence, letters of appreciation from the mayor's office, a newspaper clipping about the domestic violence call where he talked down an armed suspect without firing a shot. His sergeant calls him a model officer. His partner, Marcus Hale, calls him obsessive. You ever just let a broken taillight slide? Marcus asked him last month during a shift. Not everyone needs a ticket, Cross. But Daniel can't let things slide. Can't leave loose ends. Every traffic stop is executed with surgical precision. Every report is filed immediately. Every piece of evidence is logged, catalogued, sealed. His cruiser is always clean. His uniform is always pressed. His dashboard computer is always updated. No errors. No gaps. No questions. Because Daniel Cross understands something most cops don't, in the age of body cams and dashboards and digital footprints, perfection isn't optional. It's survival. One mistake, one single, documented mistake, and someone might start digging. Might start asking questions. Might start wondering if the officer who's too good to be true has something to hide. So he stays perfect. Until tonight, when Emily Carter's milky white eyes stare back at him through his rearview mirror, and his body cam records every second of his terror. December 14, 2021. 11:47 p.m. Daniel's hands were steady on the wheel despite the whiskey burning in his veins. 3 shots, maybe 4, at his buddy's promotion party. Not enough to feel drunk, just enough to feel invincible. Just enough to make the drive home seem reasonable. The academy acceptance letter was folded in his glove compartment. Finally. After 2 rejections, he'd gotten in. 6 months from now, he'd be a cop. 6 months from now, his life would finally mean something. The light turned yellow as he approached the intersection of Industrial and 5th. He should have braked. Should have stopped. But yellow meant accelerate, meant make it through, meant he was fine, everything was fine. He pressed the gas. The girl on the bicycle came from nowhere, a gray cardigan catching his headlights, dark hair flying as she swerved. The impact was almost gentle. A soft thud. The sick crunch of metal and the high, sharp sound of her body hitting pavement. Daniel's car screeched to a halt 30 feet past the intersection. For 5 seconds, he sat frozen, his breath coming in short gasps, his reflection staring back at him in the rearview mirror. This isn't happening. This didn't happen. He stepped out into the rain. She was lying in the street, twisted at an unnatural angle, her bicycle crumpled beside her. Blood pooled beneath her head, black in the streetlight. Her eyes were open, staring at nothing. Her chest rose and fell in shallow, desperate movements. No, no, no. Daniel dropped to his knees beside her, his hands hovering over her body, afraid to touch, afraid to make it worse. Can you hear me? Stay with me. I'm calling, I'm getting help. His phone was in his hand. 911, 3 numbers. That's all it would take. But his thumb hovered over the screen, frozen. Whiskey in your blood. Academy acceptance contingent on a clean record. DUI. Vehicular assault. Manslaughter. Her breathing was getting shallower. Please, he whispered. Please just hold on. He pressed his fingers to her neck. Her pulse was thread-thin, fluttering like a dying bird. Call 911. Save her. Face the consequences. His phone screen glowed in the rain. Or walk away. She was biking in the dark. No lights. It was an accident. No cameras on this street. No witnesses. You checked. Her pulse weakened beneath his fingertips. Choose your future or choose hers. Daniel made his choice. He stood, pocketed his phone, and walked back to his car on numb legs. He didn't look back as he pulled away from the intersection. Didn't look at the girl lying in the rain. Didn't let himself think about the shallow rise and fall of her chest that might still be happening. He drove home. He showered. He burned the clothes he'd been wearing. And when Emily Carter's missing person report hit the news 3 days later, Daniel told himself she must have survived. Must have wandered off, confused. Must be out there somewhere, alive. Because the alternative, that he'd left her dying in the street to protect a future that hadn't even started, was something he could never let himself believe. Daniel's hand shakes as he grips Emily's license, the plastic slick with the cold sweat from his palms. The dashboard computer screen still glows with that impossible verdict, deceased. His body cam records everything, the tremor in his fingers, the raggedness of his breathing, the way he keeps glancing at the rearview mirror where she sits, patient and still. This isn't real. Systems glitch. Databases have errors. He keys his radio with numb fingers. Dispatch, Unit 47. Running a 10 to 28 on A. His voice cracks. He clears his throat. On a license, last name Carter, first name Emily. Can you confirm status? Static. Then the dispatcher's bored voice, stand by, Unit 47. The seconds stretch like hours. Daniel's eyes stay locked on the rearview mirror. Emily hasn't moved. Hasn't blinked. Her clouded eyes stare forward through her windshield, focused on something he can't see. The interior of her car is perfectly ordinary. Air freshener hanging from the mirror, a coffee cup in the holder, a textbook on the passenger seat. Modern. Current. Real. Unit 47, confirming license status on Emily Catherine Carter, DOB August 15, 1999. Shows deceased as of December 14, 2021. Missing persons case closed due to presumed death. Do you need backup for? Daniel kills the radio. His training screams at him to follow protocol. Suspicious circumstances. Possible identity theft. Request backup. Investigate. Document. But protocol assumes reality follows rules, assumes the world makes sense, assumes the girl you left bleeding on the pavement doesn't show up 3 years later driving 95 in a 55 zone. He forces himself out of the cruiser. His body cam captures every reluctant step back to her window. His flashlight beam shakes as he raises it. Emily turns to face him again. This close, he can see the details his mind tried to reject before. Her skin isn't just pale, it has the texture of ash, like something preserved rather than living. Her lips are bloodless. And her eyes, those terrible clouded eyes, don't reflect his flashlight beam. They absorb it, like staring into fog. "Ma'am, I need you to step out of the vehicle." His voice sounds foreign to his own ears, too high, too tight. Emily's mouth curves into something that might be a smile. She doesn't speak. Doesn't move. Just stares at him with those dead eyes while his body cam records the impossible encounter. "I said step out of the..." She's gone. The driver's seat is empty. The car is still running, still in park, but there's no one behind the wheel. Daniel's flashlight beam cuts through the vacant interior, illuminating nothing but that coffee cup, that textbook, that air freshener swaying gently in the breeze from the open window. His body cam captures the moment his flashlight drops from his hand. Captures the sound of his breathing accelerating into hyperventilation. Captures him stumbling backward, his eyes wide with terror, as he realizes the truth. Emily Carter isn't hiding. She didn't run. She simply stopped existing the moment he looked away. And somewhere in the darkness beyond his cruiser's lights, he hears the soft rustle of fabric, like a gray cardigan moving through the wind. Daniel sits in the precinct's evidence room at 2:47 a.m., alone with his laptop and a cup of coffee gone cold. The traffic stop ended with him calling in a possible stolen vehicle, abandoned on the highway. Dispatch sent a tow truck. Marcus asked him twice if he was feeling okay. Daniel lied both times. Now he needs to see the footage. Needs proof that what happened was real, or proof that he's losing his mind. Either answer is better than this liminal horror of not knowing. His fingers hesitate over the keyboard before pulling up the body cam file, cross_D_10-15-2024_2207.mp4. The video loads. The siren wail fills his headphones. He watches himself approach the sedan, watches the window roll down, watches Emily's face turn toward him, pale, ash-toned, those clouded eyes staring through the screen directly into his soul. He pauses the video. Rewinds. Plays it again. She's there. Undeniably there. The computer scan is visible over his shoulder when he returns to the cruiser. Status, deceased. So it happened. I'm not crazy. She was. He notices the shadow. It's subtle. Just a darker spot in the background, visible through his cruiser's rear window as he sits frozen at the dashboard. Daniel leans closer to the screen, squinting. The shadow has a shape. A human shape. Standing on the road behind his car. His stomach clenches. He scrubs forward through the footage. To the moment he exits the cruiser again, walks back to confront the empty vehicle. The shadow is clearer now in the infrared glow of his headlights. A woman in a gray cardigan, standing 15 feet behind him while he stares into the vacant car. He fast-forwards to the end of the stop, to the moment he's stumbling backward in panic. The shadow is closer. 10 feet. Close enough that he can see the dark hair, the pale face, the clouded eyes watching his body cam record his terror. Daniel's hands are shaking so badly he can barely control the mouse. He exits the file and opens yesterday's footage. A routine domestic call. Nothing unusual. He watches himself knock on an apartment door, watches the argument he mediated, watches the grateful wife thank him as he leaves. And there, reflected in the hallway mirror as he walks past, a woman in gray standing behind him. Emily. Her face partially visible over his shoulder, her expression blank, her eyes locked on the back of his head. He opens another file. Traffic stop from 3 days ago. She's in the background of that one too, standing beside a telephone pole, watching. Another file. A theft report. She's visible through a store window, her palm pressed against the glass. How long has she been there? Daniel scrolls back through his footage files with mounting hysteria. 1 week. 2 weeks. 3. Every single recording from the past month shows her somewhere in the frame, distant, patient, always watching. Always recorded by the technology he trusted to protect him. The body cam doesn't lie. It never lies. And it's been documenting Emily Carter's ghost haunting his every movement for 30 days straight. Marcus Hale finds Daniel in the records room on a Tuesday afternoon, surrounded by files that have nothing to do with their current caseload. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, casting harsh shadows across Daniel's face, a face that's lost weight over the past 2 weeks, grown gaunt and pale. "You skipped lunch again," Marcus says, setting a sandwich on the table. "Third time this week." Daniel doesn't look up from the file spread before him. Missing persons case #MP 21-890. Emily Catherine Carter. The pages are worn from repeated handling, the edges soft. Marcus can see the victim's photo clipped to the inside cover, a young woman with dark hair and a shy smile. Not hungry. Marcus pulls out a chair, the metal legs scraping against linoleum. "What's going on, Cross? And don't tell me nothing. You've been off since that traffic stop last week. The abandoned sedan. I filed the report. Vehicle was towed. Nothing unusual. Right." Marcus leans back, studying his partner with the careful attention he usually reserves for suspects. "Except you've watched that body cam footage 47 times. IT flagged it. Thought maybe the file was corrupted, asked me to check on you." Daniel's jaw tightens. His fingers trace the edge of Emily's photograph, a gesture so unconscious it sets off alarms in Marcus's head. "Who is she?" Marcus asks quietly. "Missing person. Cold case from 2021. I can read the file number." "Why do you care about a 3-year-old missing person case?" The lie forms on Daniel's tongue, routine review, bored on night shift, thought I saw something, but he's too tired to sell it convincingly. Instead, he says nothing. Marcus reaches across the table and closes the file. "Daniel. Look at me." When Daniel finally meets his eyes, Marcus sees something that makes his cop instincts flare, fear. Raw, desperate fear. "You knew her," Marcus says. "It's not a question." "No." "Then why?" "I said no." Daniel snatches the file back, clutching it against his chest like a shield. "I'm following up on something. That's all. Doing my job. Your job is patrol. Your job is the calls we get assigned. Your job isn't obsessing over a dead girl from before you even joined the force." Marcus pauses, weighing his next words carefully. "Unless there's something you need to tell me." The silence stretches between them like a chasm. "The driver," Daniel finally says, his voice barely above a whisper. "From the traffic stop. The computer said she was deceased. Said she was Emily Carter." Marcus goes very still. "Computer error. We checked. The sedan was registered to. I know what it was registered to. I know what the follow-up showed. But in that moment, Marcus, the system identified her as deceased. As this girl." He taps the file. "Don't you think that's strange?" "I think you need sleep. Maybe some time off." "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You look like hell, you're losing weight, and you're chasing ghosts." Marcus stands, his voice gentle but firm. take a few days. Clear your head. That's not a suggestion, Cross. That's an order from your partner who gives a damn. Daniel doesn't respond. He's already opening the file again, his eyes fixed on Emily Carter's photograph with an intensity that borders on obsession. Marcus leaves him there, but not before making a mental note to pull the full case file himself. Something about this doesn't add up. Daniel doesn't go home for 3 days after Marcus orders him to take time off. He sleeps in his car in the precinct parking lot, showers at the gym, buys fresh uniforms even though he's not on duty. Home feels dangerous now, like crossing a threshold he can't uncross. But eventually, exhaustion wins. His apartment is exactly as he left it, sterile, organized, no photographs on the walls, no personal touches that might invite questions from visitors he never has. The air smells stale. He drops his keys in the bowl by the door, and the sound echoes too loud in the silence. The first thing he notices is the cold. His thermostat reads 72 degrees, but his breath mists in the air. The kind of cold that comes from something fundamentally wrong rather than temperature. The kind of cold that settles in your bones. The second thing he notices is the smell. Ash. Like a fireplace that's burned out hours ago, leaving behind that acrid, dead scent. Daniel's hand moves instinctively to his hip, but he's off duty, no weapon. He moves through the apartment with the tactical precision drilled into him at the academy, clearing corners, checking rooms, looking for any sign of forced entry. Nothing. Everything is exactly where he left it. Until he reaches the hallway leading to his bedroom. The gray cardigan hangs on his doorknob. Daniel freezes mid-step, his heart hammering against his ribs. It's wet. Water drips from the hem onto the hardwood floor, forming a small puddle that gleams in the dim light. The fabric is torn at the shoulder, a jagged rip that exposes the white liner beneath. He knows this cardigan. Saw it in the rain 3 years ago, soaked with blood and street water. His hands shake as he reaches for it, some irrational part of his brain needing to confirm it's real. The moment his fingers touch the fabric, it crumbles. Not like cloth, but like burned paper, disintegrating into flakes of ash that drift to the floor in a soft gray shower. The puddle beneath remains. Daniel steps back, and his shoe crunches on something. He looks down. Ash covers the hallway floor in a thin layer, concentrated in spots like footprints. Small footprints. A woman's size 7, the same size listed in Emily Carter's missing person file. They lead from his front door, which he knows was locked, which he knows was secure, down the hallway to his bedroom door. Then they stop. As if she walked into his apartment and simply vanished at the threshold of where he sleeps. Daniel follows the ash trail with mounting dread. At his bedroom door, he finds more. A handprint on the doorframe at shoulder height, perfectly preserved in gray ash. The fingers are delicate, feminine. When he looks closer, he can see the whorls of fingerprints in the powder. He doesn't open the bedroom door. Can't. Because if she's in there, if she's standing in the darkness waiting, then this is real. Then there's no explaining it away as stress or lack of sleep or computer glitches. Instead, he backs away slowly, leaves his apartment, and gets in his car. He doesn't come back for 2 more days. When he finally does, the ash is gone. But the smell of burned things lingers in every room. Daniel returns to duty against Marcus's advice. Staying away only makes it worse, the isolation, the waiting, the certainty that Emily will appear in every shadow. At least on patrol, he's moving. At least there are procedures to follow, protocols that impose order on a reality that's coming apart at the seams. The call comes in at 11:23 p.m. Domestic disturbance, possible weapons involved, apartment 4C at the Riverside complex. Marcus is driving. Daniel rides silent in the passenger seat, his body cam already recording, his hand resting near his service weapon. "You sure you're good for this?" Marcus asks as they pull up. I'm fine. Because if you're not. I said I'm fine. They take the stairs. 4th floor. The apartment door is already open, hanging crooked on its hinges. Voices inside, a man shouting, a woman crying. Standard domestic. Daniel has done 100 of these. Knows the rhythm, knows the danger points, knows how to de-escalate. They announce themselves. Police. We're coming in. The apartment is dim, lit only by a flickering television. The man stands in the center of the living room, mid-30s, built like a linebacker, fists clenched. The woman cowers behind the couch. Blood on her lip. A lamp shattered on the floor. Sir, I need you to take 3 steps back and show me your hands, Daniel says, his voice steady, professional. The man doesn't move. She started it. She always. Hands. Now. The man's right hand moves toward his waistband. And then he changes. It happens in the space between one heartbeat and the next. The man's face ripples like water, his features melting and reforming. The linebacker build shrinks. Dark hair replaces the man's buzz cut. Pale skin spreads across his arms like infection. Daniel is staring at Emily Carter. She stands where the man stood, wearing that gray cardigan torn at the shoulder, her clouded eyes locked on his face. Her mouth doesn't move, but he hears her voice anyway, a whisper that seems to come from inside his own skull. You left me there. Cross, what are you? Marcus's voice sounds distant, underwater. Emily's hand is still moving toward her waistband. Still reaching. Still threatening. Daniel's weapon is in his hand. He doesn't remember drawing it. His finger rests on the trigger. Every instinct screams, armed suspect, deadly threat, shoot, shoot, shoot. Daniel, stand down. Marcus is shouting now, grabbing his arm. It's clear. His hands are empty. Stand down. Daniel blinks. The man is back. Not Emily. Just a scared, angry man with empty hands raised above his head, his eyes wide with terror as he stares down the barrel of Daniel's gun. Don't shoot, the man whispers. Please, I don't have anything. Marcus wrenches Daniel's weapon away, his face pale. What the hell was that? Daniel can't answer. Can't explain that for 5 seconds, he saw Emily Carter instead of the suspect. Can't explain that he almost pulled the trigger. Almost killed an unarmed man because a ghost hijacked his perception. The woman behind the couch is crying harder now. The man is on his knees, hands still raised, shaking. And in the corner of the room, barely visible in the television's flickering light, Emily stands watching. Real Emily. Ghost Emily. Her expression is patient, almost sad, as if she knows what's coming next. Daniel's body cam recorded everything. Marcus drives Daniel home after the incident, confiscates his service weapon, and tells him he's suspended pending a psychological evaluation. Daniel doesn't argue. Doesn't explain. Just sits in the passenger seat watching streetlights blur past, knowing that no evaluation will find what's actually wrong with him. At 3 a.m., Daniel gets in his car and drives. He hasn't been back to the intersection of Industrial and 5th since that December night. Hasn't let himself drive past it, hasn't allowed himself to see what he left behind. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe Emily is haunting him because he never went back, never faced what he did, never tried to make it right. You can't make it right. She's dead. You killed her. But ghosts want something, don't they? Closure. Acknowledgement. Maybe if he goes back to where it happened, if he stands in that spot and finally admits what he did, she'll stop. She'll leave him alone. She'll let him breathe. The road is empty at this hour. No traffic. No witnesses. Just like that night. The streetlights are working now, harsh sodium vapor lights that turn everything the color of old bruises. Daniel parks where he parked before, in almost the exact spot, and steps out into the cold October air. The intersection looks different. Smaller somehow, more ordinary. Just asphalt and faded crosswalk lines and a traffic signal blinking yellow in the darkness. No blood stains. No evidence that anything terrible happened here. 3 years of rain and traffic have erased every trace. Except for the woman standing in the center of the intersection. Emily waits where she fell, exactly where she fell. Her gray cardigan hangs torn and wet on her frame. Her feet are bare, pale against the dark asphalt. She doesn't move as Daniel approaches, doesn't speak, just watches him with those clouded eyes that see everything he's tried to bury. "I'm sorry." His voice cracks on the words. "I'm so sorry. I should have called for help. I should have stayed. I should have." She takes a step toward him. "I was scared. I was selfish. I chose my future over your life and I've regretted it every single day since." Tears stream down his face now, hot against the cold air. "Tell me what you want. Tell me how to fix this. Please." Another step. She's 10 feet away now. Close enough that he can see the details. The way her hair moves in a wind that isn't blowing, the way her skin has the texture of something preserved rather than living, the dark hollow at her shoulder where the cardigan is torn. "I'll confess. I'll turn myself in. I'll tell them everything if that's what you need." Emily stops 3 feet away. Her mouth doesn't move, but he hears her voice in his head, soft and sad and utterly certain. "You already are." Daniel doesn't understand. "What?" She raises one pale hand and points behind him. He turns. His cruiser sits at the curb, exactly where he parked it. But it's not his civilian car, it's his patrol vehicle. The one he's suspended from driving. The one he left at the precinct. And the dashboard camera is recording. Has been recording since he arrived. His body cam, the one Marcus didn't confiscate because Daniel wasn't wearing his uniform, sits activated on his civilian jacket collar. Recording. "Oh God. You already are," Emily's voice repeats, and when he spins back around, she's gone. But the cameras keep recording. Recording his confession. Recording his admission. Recording everything he just said in front of technology that never forgets and never lies. Daniel runs back to his car, hands shaking as he reaches for the body cam on his collar. He needs to destroy it, needs to delete the footage, needs to erase the confession before it uploads to the precinct server. His fingers find the clip, pull. The device won't come off. He yanks harder, the metal clasp digging into his skin, but it's as if the camera has fused to the fabric. Panic floods his system. He throws himself into the driver's seat and reaches for the dashboard cam, but the moment his hand touches it, every door locks with a synchronized click. The engine starts on its own. No. No, no, no. Daniel pulls the handle. Locked. He slams his fist against the window. Hits the unlock button. Nothing responds. The car's electrical system has gone rogue, controlled by something that isn't him. The dashboard screen flickers to life. Live stream active. Broadcasting to precinct, all units. Viewers, 47. His blood turns to ice. The number climbs. 52, 58. 63, everyone at the night shift. Dispatch. Command staff. Marcus. The rearview mirror reflects the back seat. Emily sits directly behind him, her clouded eyes visible in the mirror's frame. She wasn't there a second ago. Didn't open the door. Didn't climb in. She simply exists now in the space behind him, patient and still. Please, Daniel whispers. Please, I'll do anything. Just stop this. The viewer count hits 89. Emily's reflection leans forward. Her lips still don't move, but her voice fills the car, not in his head this time, but through the speakers, broadcast to every unit listening. Tell them. I can't. I'll lose everything. My career, my freedom, my... You already lost it. December 14, 2021. You lost it when you left me dying. Daniel's breath comes in ragged gasps. He pulls at the door handle again, throws his shoulder against it. The car doesn't budge. He's trapped in a cage of his own making, surrounded by the very technology he trusted to protect him, now weaponized by the ghost of the girl he killed. The viewer count reaches 127. His body cam light blinks red. Recording. Broadcasting. Streaming his terror in high definition to everyone he's ever worked with. What do you want from me? He screams at her reflection. The truth. And suddenly Daniel understands. Emily doesn't want revenge. Doesn't want him dead. She wants what he took from her that night, acknowledgement. A voice. A record that she existed, that she mattered, that what happened to her wasn't just erased by a coward's silence. She wants someone to finally tell the truth. The viewer count hits 150. Marcus's name appears in the viewer list. Captain Morrison. The district attorney. Daniel looks directly into the dashboard camera. His face is haggard, streaked with tears, but his eyes are clear for the first time in 3 years. My name is Daniel Cross, he begins, his voice steady. On December 14, 2021, I killed Emily Catherine Carter. Behind him, Emily's clouded eyes begin to clear. I was driving under the influence. I ran a red light at Industrial and 5th. I hit her bicycle. She was alive when I checked her pulse, and I left her there anyway. The viewer count climbs. 178, 200. The entire precinct is watching. I let her die to protect my future. I became a cop to bury what I did. Every perfect report, every commendation, every procedure I followed, it was all to hide the fact that I'm a murderer. Emily's reflection is changing. The ash-gray pallor is fading from her skin. Color returns to her lips. The car doors unlock with a soft click the moment Daniel finishes his confession. Emily's reflection in the rearview mirror smiles, not cruel, not vengeful, just peaceful, and then fades like morning mist. The body cam's red light goes dark. The dashboard screen returns to normal. Daniel doesn't run. Doesn't try to delete the footage or take back the words. He simply sits in the driver's seat, hands in his lap, and waits. Marcus arrives first, his cruiser's lights painting the intersection in familiar red and blue. He approaches slowly, weapon holstered but hand ready, his face unreadable in the harsh streetlight. Out of the car, Daniel. Hands where I can see them. Daniel complies. The handcuffs click around his wrists with a finality that feels almost like relief. I watched the stream, Marcus says quietly as he guides Daniel toward his cruiser. We all did. 237 officers watched you confess to killing Emily Carter. I know. Why? Why now, after 3 years? Daniel looks back at the empty intersection, at the spot where Emily stood waiting for justice. Because she wouldn't let me forget. Marcus's grip tightens on his arm. For a moment, Daniel thinks his former partner might hit him. Might make him feel even a fraction of the pain Emily felt. But Marcus just shakes his head, disgust and something like grief warring in his expression. I trusted you. We all trusted you. I know. You were supposed to be one of the good ones. I was never good, Marcus. I was just good at hiding. The trial takes 4 months. Daniel's confession, broadcast and recorded from multiple angles, makes the prosecution's case effortless. His defense attorney argues for manslaughter, for a plea deal, for leniency based on his service record. The jury deliberates for 90 minutes. Guilty. Vehicular manslaughter. Obstruction of justice. Desecration of human remains. 15 years. Emily Carter's mother attends every day of the trial, sitting in the front row with her daughter's photograph pressed against her chest. When the verdict is read, she doesn't celebrate. She just closes her eyes and whispers something that might be a prayer or might be a goodbye. Daniel sees her in the hallway afterward, flanked by victim advocates. He wants to apologize, to tell her that Emily deserved better, that her daughter was brave and kind and didn't deserve what he did. But the words catch in his throat because they're all true and none of them matter. Mrs. Carter looks at him with eyes that hold no forgiveness, only exhausted closure. "She came to me in a dream," she says. 3 nights ago. First time since she disappeared. She looked peaceful. I think she was saying goodbye. Daniel nods, unable to speak. "I hope you see her every night for the rest of your life," Mrs. Carter continues. "I hope she never lets you forget." But she already has. Daniel hasn't seen Emily since that night at the intersection. No more reflections in mirrors. No more ash in hallways. No more clouded eyes watching from the shadows. She got what she needed, the truth, spoken into a camera that couldn't be deleted, witnessed by hundreds who couldn't look away. In his cell at night, Daniel sometimes thinks he should feel her presence. Should sense her ghost hovering, unsatisfied. But there's only silence. Only the weight of what he did and the justice he finally allowed. Emily Carter is at peace. Daniel Cross never will be. And somewhere in the precinct evidence room, his body cam footage is archived permanently, a high-definition record of the night a ghost taught a cop that some truths refuse to stay buried.